I had that experience once because then I wanted to block that sender, and it says that user is in a safe list. So you cannot block a sender if that person is in your safe list. So you have to remove that user from the safe list and then come and block that sender.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to know all this.
But the money transfer to that account is the user's account.
It is the it is the attacker's account. The Courtney, the attacker who sent this email, she wants the money to be transferred to her account.
Oh, okay.
From whose account? Whoever opens this email.
Right.
But isn't that traceable for like the bank?
Well, of course, yeah. They have to call the bank and said, I lost some money and all these things. By that time, this person has to, I would have written somewhere, fly away or go away. Okay. So it is very, very shrewd kind of attack. Okay. And so, now the thing is, it may not be that easy. Of course, why? Because you have to know the email address of all your customers or customers of that bank, and then send to them, right? And so whatever I thought is explained here, so that's why I'm skipping this thing. Now, so in order to again have a much bigger impact, we could combine this cross-site scripting with this cross-site request forgery, in the sense that the previous one you just send an email and the image has to be loaded, right? So now we could combine a persistent prevention. Right. So you could combine the persistent cross-site scripting attack with this. How? Just the same idea. You put this script in a forum of that bank. So let's say the bank has a discussion forum or some message board or whatever, and Courtney logs into that bank account as a customer and then posts this on the message board. Alright? So now it's a persistent attack, cross-site scripting attack, combined with this request forgery attack, because whoever now opens the forum after logging into their bank account will have their money transferred to this Courtney's account. Alright? Why? Because they logged into the bank account explicitly by typing username and password. It's not through the email now. They logged into the bank account. But once they log into the bank account, say visit a message board or discussion forum, and once they open that forum, the script will be executed, and the money will be transferred now to her account. So this is a persistent attack. Why? Because whoever opens the forum will be subjected to this attack. And all these people, now you may think how the website allows this, or the bank allows this, right? Why? Because they have been authenticated through their username and password, and the website thinks or the bank the program running behind all these things thinks that they are executing this transfer.php and they are transferring this amount to this account. So whatever the action the user requests, a valid user requests, the server has to do that, right? So that's why it trusts the user's actions. So whatever they are doing, asking for, it goes ahead and does it. Right? So nowadays, that's why if you have been doing some e-banking and online banking and all those stuff, they are very careful on all these things. Okay? I have account with Bank of South, and what they do when I try to check my account online is they ask me to log into the username and password, and then if I want to check my balance, I cannot do it right away. I have to ask them to send an email to my email address, and they send an email with a PIN number, which is a randomly generated PIN number just for that login session. So I have to go to my email, grab that PIN number, and then enter to that account there. Click on that, and then only it will let me to open the see my balance.
That's a pain.
Huh?
That's a pain.
It's a pain, but you can avoid all these things.
What about this one? My bank They won't allow, if you go from any, like, if I go from here, it's okay. If I go from my phone, it
Yeah,
recognizes
so
it.
they can have some list of trusted computers. Normally they track by using the IP address of those computers.
But if you go somewhere else, it'll block
Even
you.
Facebook does that. Have you tried logging into your Facebook account from a new computer that you have never used before? It will raise an alarm telling it looks like you are trying to access your account from a new computer that you have not used, and it will ask you to authenticate that whether you are the one who's using the account.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the same thing the idea we'll see now. So now you see how the persistent cross-site scripting attack would be combined with this request forgery attack, and the attack would be much more serious. Okay, so whoever now opens the forum will lose their money, and will be deposited to her account. And the bank software will execute all these user actions because they log in through their account and do all these things, right? Now sometimes you may remove, it's a good practice to constantly remove your cookies from your browser. Now if you go to internet properties and clean up all these cookies, it may sometimes even speed up your computer, because you may be storing all those history information and all these cookies. Okay? And from a security point of view, it's a good idea. The only thing is you have to type your username and password all the time, or all over whatever the color and all this. Cookies typically store all these things, right? What pages you visited, what links you clicked, and all those things, right? So if the user is willing to sacrifice some level of comfort, then you can have a much more secure online transaction or anything like that. And also, to prevent such attacks, especially when through the email approach, remember the email thing I said, as long by just opening your email, this would happen, right? So in order to again avoid this, delete your cookie and also log out from any of your bank account or whatever. Okay, so in your personal computer, you may log in and don't log out. Just say, okay, I'm the only one who's going to use this, so why I have to log out, right? So if you stay logged in and then open an email that comes something like this, then the money will be transferred to her account. You see that? So it's always a good practice. So after you are done checking with whatever you want to check in your bank account or something, log out explicitly. So if you stay logged in, but just by closing a browser, you are not logged out sometimes. Okay, so you have to explicitly log out to avoid such attacks. Yes?
I have a question. For example, I bought something from Amazon, and then, okay, every time I log in, and then because I bought it before and used like my Visa card, I always want to remove my Visa card from there, but I cannot. It's always like if you keep on purchasing, it doesn't ask me any PIN code again. It's just keep on swipe my card automatically.
She created an account.
I think the first time you used, you probably gave them some permission to use that card for all your transactions.
So you could go in and create an account, or you can go in just as a guest. You went in and created an account.
No, but okay. For example, if I'm logged in, so the only solution is I log out.
Yeah, you log out. You should log out. But
because okay, for example, my laptop, it will automatically log in. I mean, if somebody use my laptop, so
right.
when it's browse the Amazon website, my account will automatically log in. Yeah, that's the problem.
So can you try deleting your cookies? Remove everything from your cookies list. This should go off. Go to the browser, internet properties, and I think it says what?
In the options.
Yeah, there's a way you can remove all your cookies.
What browser are you using?
Using Internet Explorer?
The Google Chrome.
You should be able to get to in the privacy setting to remove your password and your username.
Well, I was looking for that for a long time, and I didn't find any button can click like that.
So if she can remove the cookies, that would solve the problem.
Yeah.
The cookies would be.
If you go on your computer and go to Google's, it'll give you step-by-step directions. Just tell them what system you're running.
And Amazon is another example, not like what you are telling, but if you just visit a website, visit some or search for some books or whatever, and then after logging in, right? Even after you log out, the next time you log in, it will say last time or some time back you visited these books. So these books may be of interest for you. So it will by itself gather some books that may be of interest for you. So that's the way they do business, in the sense that they don't want you to again search again for all those books. So they themselves present you a list of books that you may be interested in. And all these things are done because of the cookies. Okay? So it's good, but the user has to carefully use them. So like you have to log out and you have to frequently remove them from your computer and all those stuff. Okay? And from a web designer point of view, how you should design your websites, always try to use the post method of gathering inputs from your users' forms. Okay? Don't use the get method to retrieve values from the URL. Okay? Because the get method explicitly displays to a user what are the values that are being passed, and someone like what I showed can then figure out what are the different values and they can misuse it. And also, again in PHP, I believe there is a way for each form in your web site you could have a unique identification number. So for example here, the transfer.php page is really what is doing the transfer, is in charge of transferring the money to that account. So we called this page from a forum, right? So typically this transfer.php could be called after you log in or after you do some kind of deposit or whatever, right? There is no reason, a logical reason, to transfer control to the transfer.php page from a forum site. But that's what happened in this attack, right? Someone opened the forum, the transfer.php script is executed and the money gets transferred, right? So the transfer.php code for this page could check from which form, okay, the control is being transferred. You accept control transfer only from some particular forms. So all forms in each form in your whole web program could have a unique number, ID. And you accept transfer of control from one form to another form only from some limited forms. So one such thing is, don't accept anything from a forum, because a forum is where someone could put all the JavaScripts. So there's no need to transfer money after visiting a forum, right? So block all transfer of control from a forum to a transfer.php page. So when you, as a programmer, web programmer, right? So this is one of the strategies you could follow to prevent such attacks. Don't execute controls coming from some arbitrary forums. You execute some controls only when the control comes from some valid forms. Okay? So all these things will be in the project, so you'll realize this. And the well-known CAPTCHA, I think everyone should at least go through this, right? Like the bank thing I was telling, if you want to transfer, they will still ask you to enter some characters, right? Why? It's not sufficient that you just logged in and tried to transfer some money. They again want to make sure that it is you who did that. And the words, if you have noticed this, it's very randomly generated. So no attacker can mimic those words or even easily guess what words will be asked to type, right? So this is the best approach actually to prevent all these things. Okay. So when you want to do all these things, before you execute the transfer.php and transfer the amount, if the user was asked, are you willing to transfer this money to this account? If so, type some random characters. Then the user will be awakened, oh, I don't want to transfer money to that account. So then they won't type or confirm that. Okay. Same thing when you want to create anything, even when you type some messages in a forum, right? They will ask you to enter this sequence of words randomly generated, just to make sure there's a user who is there to who is really physically present to enter all these comments. Because sometimes all this seems to be automated, like what I said. This. Not only that, when you create an email address like Yahoo or Hotmail or whatever, they don't want you to overload the server by just creating random email addresses within a short amount of time. So always when you create an email address, you go through a CAPTCHA process where they want to physically verify that you are generating you are creating this email address account. Okay? So they don't want to overload. Similarly, even sometimes if you stay logged in for a long time and try to use your email account, they will sometimes ask you to enter some characters that they will display. Okay? And in the project, I'm looking at something, it may be a little difficult to use the random word generation approach. Rather than that, you can, I'm looking at something called an image selection or image identification approach, which means I'll give you, the idea is you can load a sequence of images, each could be a cat, dog and all those things, and ask the user to identify, to click on a cat. So if it's a genuine user, you're asking him to click on a cat, you should click only on the cat, not on something else. Okay, so this may not be very 100% secure as a random word-based CAPTCHA, but this is something more easy to implement.
So basically, the only thing that when you're trying to create an email account, or even if you haven't been your email, it'll ask you to type those images in. Only thing that does is just to verify that it's not a code versus a human.
Yes. But the advantage is it's not automated in the sense that, for example, when you load this image, right? I said without the user's knowledge, the money is transferred. Now, if you use this CAPTCHA approach, the user will be cautioned that you want to transfer some money to this account. Do you want to do that? And if so, type those words. That's sufficient, right? Because now the user is kind of awakened that, oh yeah, somebody is trying to transfer some money to their account. So if he doesn't want to do that, he will cancel that and then nothing will be transferred. So the manual presence is needed. So the user is really doing this. So that's why it's not, the website trusts the user normally, but it is a kind of double confirmation that the user does wanted to do this. Okay.
Julia, do you want to share with you? In China, the bank connected your bank account with your mobile. So if you spend some money or someone swipe your card, it will automatically tells you like, okay, today right now you just swipe like $50 as service, so like you can know that.
Yeah, so if you lost your mobile phone, then somebody else has access to it. Okay, so that's about this. Now if you go back to that page, which